Welcome back to another Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because, well, we're tackling a massive missed opportunity in digital marketing. We are talking about search intent stacking. Look, if you've ever poured your heart and, let's be honest, your budget into a piece of content, only to find it capturing just a tiny fraction of the actual search traffic out there, this is absolutely for you. Search intent stacking is literally the ultimate method for transforming a single, well-built page into a massive magnet for dozens of related queries. We are going to completely rethink how we architect content today. Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're covering 1. The problem with single intent. 2. 4 types of search intent. 3. The intent stacking framework. 4. Structuring your multi-intent page. 5. Avoiding common stacking mistakes. And 6. Measuring intent stacking success.
All right, Section 1, the problem with single intent. I want to pose this question directly to you. Why do single intent pages leave so much traffic on the table? Think about your own habits for a second. Real search behavior rarely stays neatly in one lane, right? When we search for something, we usually go on a rapid, continuous journey. We jump from asking informational questions straight into running cost comparisons, all in a single session, and often without ever leaving the search results page. If your page only answers one narrow question, well, that searcher is going to bounce right back to Google to find the rest of their answers somewhere else.
And this brilliantly illustrates the divide between the two approaches. It's a stark contrast. Traditional, thin, single-intent pages, they just lead to bouncing users, low topical authority, and worst of all, keyword cannibalization, where your own pages are literally competing against each other. But when you stack intents, it's a real game changer. You satisfy entire query clusters, you build deep topical authority that search engines love, and you create a structure that modern AI summarization tools absolutely reward.
Section 2. 4 types of search intent.
Before we start building, we need to know what we're actually stacking. Google and SEO practitioners generally categorize queries into 4 distinct buckets. First up is informational. This is where users just want to learn something, using trigger words like how or what. Next is commercial investigation. The user knows they have a need, and they're weighing their options, using words like best or versus. Then we have transactional. The user is ready to pull the trigger and act, searching for buy or price. And finally, navigational, where the user is just looking for a specific brand or homepage.
Now here's a golden rule for you. Most stacking happens between informational and commercial investigation, with just a light transactional layer added near the very end. We almost never stack navigational intent. Why? Because those searchers are just looking for a specific destination. They want a direct link. They aren't looking for a broad, layered, comprehensive answer.
Section 3, the intent stacking framework. Time to get into the step-by-step process.
So the crucial point is that building an intent-stacked page requires a deliberate order. You absolutely cannot just cram keywords onto a URL and hope for the best. Step 1 is identifying your primary intent anchor. This dictates the core purpose of your whole page. Step 2, map the secondary intents that naturally follow in the reader's mind. Step 3 is vital. Architect your content in distinct, clearly labeled layers. No blended messes here. Keep it structured. For Step 4, match your content blocks to those intents. For example, use a comparison table for commercial queries, or just plain text for informational ones. Finally, Step 5, signal this beautiful structure to the search engines using proper heading hierarchy and schema markup. But wait, before we look at the physical structure, we have to talk about a concept called BLUF, bottom line up front. This means answering a question directly in the first 2 or 3 sentences of a section. Do not build up to the answer. Lead with it. This critical communication technique helps both human scanners and AI summarization tools immediately grasp your page's value and see exactly what question you are resolving.
Moving into Section 4, structuring your multi-intent page.
Let's move to and see how this builds out on an actual physical page. First, as we just covered, always lead with that BLUF approach. Next, you absolutely must use a table of contents with jump links. I mean, this is mandatory for any page over 1,500 words to prevent friction for transactional readers who just want to skip straight to the pricing. Keep your transactional content visible but not intrusive. Think like a sticky sidebar. Separate your distinct intent zones with clear H2 headings. And finally, end the whole shebang with a single clear call to action that matches the strongest intent on the page.
To make this super concrete, let's look at a mini story of a searcher's journey through a real B2B page about commercial roof coating. The primary intent is informational, so the very top of the page explains exactly what roof coating actually is. Simple enough. Next, the user naturally wonders about their options, right?
So the next layer is a commercial investigation zone featuring a silicone versus acrylic comparison table. Finally, they're going to wonder about the price, so the bottom layer is transactional, covering the cost per square foot and a Get a Quote button. These clearly separated H2 layers satisfy the reader's entire journey without forcing a premature sales pitch down their throat.
Section 5. Avoiding common stacking mistakes.
Listen closely here, because even the pros get this wrong. Intent stacking is about serving a reader's actual decision process. It is not just cramming keywords onto a single URL to pad your ranking stats. So what are the biggest traps? Well, treating this as keyword stuffing, for one, or pitching your product way too early and totally losing the primary intent. Sometimes teams even accidentally cannibalize their own existing pages, which is an absolute SEO nightmare. Avoid writing paper-thin sections just to cover a keyword, don't force totally unrelated intents together, and please, whatever you do, do not skip that table of contents. Your readers will thank you.
And finally, Section 6, Measuring Intent Stacking Success. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the profound connection to artificial intelligence. Intent stacking is actually the secret to answer engine optimization, or AEO, for platforms like Perplexity, ChatGPT, and Google AI overviews. These AI tools, they tend to summarize from sources that anticipate what comes next. A page that completely answers the core question and the natural follow-up questions all in one place is exactly what these advanced systems are built to reward.
So how do you know if it's working? When you check Google Search Console, a successfully stacked page won't just rank for one isolated term. You'll see real query diversity, meaning steady impression growth across a whole cluster of informational, comparison, and transactional variants. You'll start capturing more SERP features like featured snippets and AI overviews. Over in your analytics, you'll see deeper scroll depth as readers actually move through those layers. And most importantly, you're going to see assisted conversions from people who initially arrived through a purely informational query, but they stayed, learned, and decided to convert. But remember this number, 6 to 12. That is the number of weeks you need to patiently wait after a significant restructure. Look, search engines require a reasonable review window to recrawl, reassess, and ultimately reward your page for a much broader query cluster. It takes time. Don't panic if you don't see results on day 2.
I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on today. Really look at your own site and ask yourself, are you building pages just to target isolated keywords, or are you architecting them to guide the reader's actual decision journey? I challenge you to audit your top-performing pages today. Look for those query clusters you are ranking inconsistently for and stop leaving that traffic on the table. Start stacking those intents, serve your readers completely, and watch your rankings soar. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.